don't mind like waiting.
Yeah,
I
I don't want to end up in like
please
3v1s to where I can't talk to people. But I've clicked
Oh
accept for
no,
a
you're
couple
good.
of people, and it's
No, I
just
wanted
not.
to talk to Mantis.
Oh, there it is.
Oh fuck. Okay, well, shit.
It's kind of hard for
She's
anybody.
still
to talk to
here.
Mantis.
Sorry, Jaden. I tried. My bad.
All right.
Well, all right. Well, if you let Meadow up, like, we're very good.
Also,
at
just FYI,
being
guys,
quiet
that
when
was
she
not a
speaks.
picture of her or her hand. But either way, yeah, like what you can post on Twitter is very different than what you can post on TikTok. It's more about the TOS than it is the principle of the
Well,
thing.
I don't think that's what we
It
were.
really doesn't undermine the argument. I mean, you've used.
Sure,
the booster
I
on
understand
Twitter,
the
so I should hope
argument.
you're
Pulling
past
it up
that,
on
but-
your actual
Meadow!
feed, though, he didn't have to do that.
Girl.
That was not necessary.
Yeah, I got that. Is she still here?
No,
Mantis?
Mantis dropped off a minute ago.
Mercedes is watching. Could she join?
Is she even in the box? Oh.
Oh, there you are. Glad we could
He
finally
did want
arrange
to
this.
address Mercedes as well, but I will wait. I would love for Meadow and Jaden to
Ariana
go,
tipped
and I'll wait my
$2.
turn.
Can we be honest about the crush
For
Tasha
sure.
has on Tom?
Can you stop with that, please? That's
I'm sorry,
wildly
I
inappropriate, my guy.
can't turn it off.
No, you
There's-
have to have some level of decorum, some
there's-
decent baseline
I know.
level of
There's
respect.
not a way
It's
for me
just
to turn it off that I
continuously
know of.
disgusting and
TikTok.
misogynistic.
There's
You
not a
should
way.
have more
Decorum?
accountability for that.
There's not a way for me
How
to
long
turn
have
it
we
off
been here?
that I know of. That I can't turn it off. I would
You
like
can't
to.
mute it?
I wish I could. I don't. Yeah, I don't know how to. I literally don't know how to like turn off this stuff. I'm a fucking boomer. Really, I I promise. I want to turn it off. I don't like that this stuff interrupts. I don't like that it keeps making it to where we have to stop what we're saying and then continue again. I'm really sorry. I don't mean for that to be the case.
Okay, well,
Okay. Mercedes, I'm glad you're joining us this evening. I did want to speak to you the other night, but it seems as though whatever I had to say was deemed ill-important or unproductive, but hopefully we can move forward in a genuine manner tonight. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I have a litany of questions that I've been wanting to ask over the last few days, but above and beyond, I do question your approach to this, and I have to wonder how effective has it really been?
It's about to be, I think, really effective.
How effective has it been?
It's about to be really effective. It's not when you're on the frontier
Okay.
of something, maybe it's not effective until you make some traction, but I think it's about to be really effective.
What can you guarantee will be the effects of this?
Change in TikTok culture.
Change in TikTok culture, is that one that veers away from what you deem accountability or cancel culture?
We're gonna bring in the liberal, just the liberal folk. The leftists have their place on here, that's great, but I think liberals are gonna come through and succeed.
Succeed in what exactly?
Creating our own space that's more palatable to people who
Palatable. But
have
what does that look like though?
this.
Which is what? Which is
This
condoning, which is allowing and condoning and downplaying conversations like this?
I think this is a great conversation. This live has been great.
Okay, well, you've said yourself that you aren't liberal. I don't know how suddenly that mantle applies to you.
I said socially I'm moderate, but policy wise I'm left.
Social moderate? What
Mhm.
policies?
Just like general, I like free healthcare, free college.
I see. I mean, I was watching your live the other night, and you seemed to argue that we should let the right characterize Black Lives Matter as a riot, and that in doing that, in making that concession, we can have greater conversations about police accountability. But you couldn't clearly define what police accountability looks like.
I didn't say
So
anything
I do
about
have to
police
question how
accountability.
effective your discourse, your dialogue are going to look like moving forward if you can't lay out the specifics, if you can't engage in an intellectual manner like
what
that.
what I said was we need police reform, and then I went on to say, just like I don't know how to build. I know, like in society, we need bridges. I don't know how to build a bridge. I know we need police reform. I don't know how to be the person to put together a whole entire course that would be sufficient enough for police to stop.
No, I'm not asking for that, but just to
Well,
have the
that's accountability
conversation.
that you're talking
Just
about.
to have the conversation would be sufficient. Just police reform is a blanket statement that doesn't mean anything. But also you allowing it and you yourself wording it in terms such as riots, which it very much was not,
I said it was
doesn't
both.
really
I
does
said
not
both.
encourage anyone to believe that we should have police reform. That would
Yeah,
encourage a
I
more
said
militant police force.
I said there was both. I said both happened.
So you understand 96% of Black Lives Matter protests, which were global, by the way, did not include any incidents or acts of violence of that nature,
So 96%, meaning the other percentage, would mean both.
meaning the vast majority of it.
Yeah, that still includes both. That means there's two parts. to
Right, but
something.
you're taking a minute fraction of the overall movement and letting them characterize it as a riot, which you yourself seem to admit is false and is wrong to characterize
What I
as
said
that.
is them characterizing it as a riot. Like I don't care what word they use because I don't cry about words. So like if they use riot and they're upset, if their issue is, hey, I did not like BLM because of their perception on it being a riot, then my answer to them is, well, if we got police reform, then the city that you deem was unsafe due to what you deem to be riots in your worldview as a MAGA person would end up, you wouldn't have to deal with it again if you guys would actually agree to police reform.
But you can't articulate what police reform looks like.
I just,
I mean, I don't know how you can get down to the
I just talked about it
basic
earlier.
principle of
I
why Black
literally
Lives Matter
just-
exist
I
if you
literally
yourself
just said it
cannot
earlier. When I
identify the
said-
problem
when I
or
said-
identify
when
the solution.
I said to you, I said, I don't know how to build a bridge that semis and cars would drive over, but I know we need them. I can.
you're trying
know
to do that.
I can know that we need police reform without knowing how to put
Okay.
together a manual that is
Okay.
proper,
I
you know,
see.
up to standard for police.
I see. So you're saying you understand the need to build a bridge over this overpass, you just don't have the tools to.
A bridge with semis and cars going over, yeah, I don't think you would know how to build a bridge that semis and cars could go over. No, I don't think either
How do you
one of
know
us
that?
know how to do that.
How do you know that?
That you don't know how to build a bridge with semis and cars?
So this is just a metaphor for what I'm trying to say here. We aren't being literal here. But how do you know that I don't know?
I feel like if you did know, you wouldn't be on TikTok as much.
I'm not on TikTok that much. That's the thing. I'm on TikTok arguably less than most of creators on this app, okay? I think I spend probably 3, maybe 4 hours of my day on this, and then the rest I'm busy doing other work. Can the same be said about you? Because so far as your background would extend, the most activism that I can point to would be the Gays Against Groomer division that you were part of.
Yeah, and I've there's a whole YouTube video on it if you want to go watch it.
I don't have time for that. But what did that
Yeah,
look
for
like?
sure.
What
That's
exactly did
insane.
you do with that organization?
Yeah, I was with them for 6 months.
I understand that. I'm asking what exactly did you do?
I went to one town hall meeting.
And that's it?
Yep. Oh, I made
And what did
content.
that look like?
I made content for them.
That would have been nice to mention.
Yeah.
You made content with them, and what did you say?
Whatever the message was over there.
I don't know what it was. I'm asking you.
No, you know what Gag's message is.
I'm asking you what it was. This is why I say these conversations are important to have publicly, not the kind of shy excuse of a phone call that you requested. I think people deserve to know where you stand, how you've deconstructed that, and how you will bridge these gaps with these communities and communities you want to include moving forward. And your tepidness in this regard is demonstrably concerning. And I believe I have a right to call that out. I don't think it's a leftist thing to say. I don't think it's cancel culture to say that you are intellectually insufficient to handle these conversations.
I think I'm definitely intellectually sufficient to handle like the people on the right for sure.
Are you saying that they're dumb?
Yes, I'm saying that a lot of people on the right have a lower IQ for sure.
Are you saying that you're dumb?
I've said it probably 10 times in multiple different lives.
So you believe that you can combat disinformation and a lack of foresight, a lack of intelligence
It's a
with...
cultural problem.
So you're saying it's a cultural problem.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And you and Tom and Z and others are part of whatever this conglomerate
We're
has
gonna
become.
fix this culture.
Just 1 second, please. All of you seem to have been... Just a second, please.
ushering in
All
the
of you
TikTok.
seem to be under the impression that this will usher in a vast new wave of voters
Oh, it will.
supporting the Democratic Party. I'm sure supporting the Democratic Party, and then that will change culture. You guys pick your favorite black
Oh, no,
person,
we're
Barack
changing-
Obama,
we're
as
changing-
an
no,
example.
You're talking about the wrong culture,
Just
buddy.
one second,
You're talking about the
Mercedes.
wrong
You and Tom and Z have used Barack Obama's
You
election
are
in
talking
2008
about the wrong
as an
culture.
example. Can I finish my point, please?
Well, if you talk about the right subject.
Can
you're
I
talking
can I
about the wrong
finish
culture.
because you've made this argument before? Okay.
And I still stand by it.
Can I just finish? Okay, then let me finish my point, please. Then you can respond. Thank you.
You're responding to culture.
Oh my goodness, you're
You're
still
responding-
talking. It's funny how I'm talking
Earlier-
and you feel the
Earlier
need to
when I said
interject.
culture, you're responding to the wrong culture, so you're not even responding to what I said earlier.
Let me
I
iterate
said
my
we're
point,
here
please.
to change the culture. So
I
what-
know
what
that
culture do
you
think
want
I'm
to
talking
start
about?
with the votes to change the culture.
No. I'm talking about we want to first. We want to start with TikTok.
You aren't changing TikTok culture.
Oh yeah, we will.
How are you so sure?
really culture.
Mercedes, how are you so sure? You're not laying out the mechanisms that will be effective. You're not telling me what you've done to be effective as an activist or
Y'all will see.
communicator. Right here on full display right now, you're showing just how articulate you can be.
Yeah, because she doesn't know, Jaden.
I
She
think
has
it's
no
pretty
idea.
clear she just doesn't want to
Yeah.
tell you guys what it is that she's planning
She
on
doesn't
doing, but
know
you're
what
saying
she's
it is the
doing.
I'm sorry.
that-
but
Well,
wouldn't-
Tom-
wouldn't
This
say-
is the same kind of rhetoric that Trump deploys. I've
They
got a
wanna know
great
so
big
bad.
plan for the
They
Middle
want to
East.
know so bad.
I'm not president right now.
To be fair, Tomfoolery, wouldn't you think it's important for her to like know this information and how to argue against it or for it, especially if she is going to be leading this movement of Unfuck America tour? Wouldn't you think it's important?
I'm not
But, like,
reading it.
you know, if we're talking about like a somebody that is somewhat left leaning and like Jaden that is very left leaning, and they're just having a back and forth, and Jaden's just trying to pick her brain.
See,
Wouldn't
right
it
now,
be
when you
important
say
for her to
leading,
be able- wouldn't it be
Behoove you.
yeah, I'm pretty sure maybe Mercedes like, admitted that she's like going to be one of the lead speakers of this. Am I
No, I never
incorrect?
said that.
I'm sorry.
What's your role?
No, that's not my role.
Okay, I do apologize. What is your role then?
I mean, I can't. I'm not going to talk about that.
Well,
But
no, that's fine. If it's like
Can we
some
mostly
contract,
talk
that's
about like
fine,
the
but, like,
I can say I'm a
the things that
creator.
you're advocating for? Because that's what I'm a little confused
Yeah,
about.
I would like to know.
What am I advocating for?
Yes.
when you go.
A change, a culture on the left that everyone can get behind.
Wait, but how are
Can
you
you-
doing
without
that?
the
Wait,
platitude,
towards
please. What does that look like?
Republicans?
This is a good start to what it looks like.
Which is what? Be
It's not
specific.
though.
Being
Any
able to
way
speak
fit.
your
she's
mind
saying
without
a
getting
more
personally
moderate
being
like
policed
group of people that are on the
Yeah, I know.
I
on
know
the
those
left,
words.
but that's
I
like
hear those
but that's
words in
but,
the
but
order
for
that she
you
has set
to-
them in.
but
But
for
what
you
does
to
that look like?
yeah, but for you to like go down a bunch of specifics, it's not going to be that easy to talk about. Like there's a difference in
It
values
actually
We can
between
is
start
hard.
somewhere.
hold on, I'm in the middle of
We can
I'm in the
start
middle of
somewhere,
I'm in the middle
Tom.
of starting somewhere.
You
so
had no
in
problem
the
when she was
middle
interrupting me.
in the middle of
Okay, call me out, but not your friend Mercedes. I got you.
in the middle of sorry, I'm
Finish your lack of
Well,
thought,
yeah.
Tom.
yeah. Okay, so the liberal politics obviously are going to be very different from leftist politics. And so the leftist politics are going to have very different values than liberals do. And so especially when it comes to like differences in liberty versus equality and what it is that they value one versus the other, they have different values in the way that they assess things and the way that they come to conclusions. Liberals are going to have a different culture pretty much across the board and have different values when it comes to how they engage.
Tom, I know this.
It is
I
like
know
a
So-
all
so
of this. This
the-
is not
so
new
to say-
information.
so what do
Trying
you
really
so
hard
but
to get
yes
down to like
but I'm asking, like I'm saying, we can only explain this in a broad like platitude without you asking about specific things. Like what do you
Well, I
want?
mean,
Like
Why can you only
well, we
explain
can
it that
talk
way?
about specific issues because what's really
Yes.
interesting to me is like when you complain about not complain. Let me be kinder, less aggressive. When you talk about like there's no path for these semis and all that, right? Who builds them?
the semis or the
You want to answer that, Mercedes? Since
Yeah,
you're
the bridges. Like Mercedes, who built those bridges? Like maybe like the black people that you're microaggressive towards, or like
Wait, what? No, my analogy. What the fuck? My analogy about bridges has nothing to do with black people.
No, your analogy about bridges
Here,
has
here
to
we
do
go
with your
again. But
idea.
no, my analogy of
Hold on.
bridges has to do with You can know that we need something in society without knowing how to give that to society. So
Yes, but who are
know
the
that we
people
need
that are
hold
figuring out
on,
how to
hold on,
provide
hold on,
that to
hold on, hold
society
on,
if
hold
not
on, hold
you?
on, hold on. Exactly. And what I said is
No, that's it. Yeah,
that was
that's
the
what I'm
question.
this
asking.
analogy.
No,
We're
that is the
agreeing right
point.
now,
No,
right?
that is the point of her
This
analogy. She's saying that like organizers, like people who there's other people who may have a better idea of how to get it done, and that
Yeah,
those
there
that she
are a
is.
lot of people with
Then
those ideas.
why
It's
aren't
not a
we
good
I
promoting
was
them?
talking
idea
about
to.
police brutality.
We can
Literally,
talk
the
about
bridge
police brutality.
analogy, the bridge analogy is strictly about police brutality. You
Oh,
can
that's
go and
only
inject
about
that
police
into
brutality.
any other. Yeah, well, Jaden said you don't know how to. You
Okay,
don't
then how do you bridge that
build
gap?
a manual. You don't. You wouldn't know how to build a manual in order to give it to the police to tell them this is how you should operate to lower
Yes,
your
which is
We
why
actually
you're the
have
what I'm
same.
saying, hold on, let me finish. What I'm saying is, and I said, I do not have to know how to build a manual for the police to follow in order to know that we need police reform. To say that
I
Okay, so
see.
Mercedes.
So I should hire someone who's
Wait,
worked with
wait.
a Lego construction set to work on my excavator.
no,
Is that what I'm hearing?
I think you should hire the ex MAGA voted 2 months before the election for Kamala Harris kind of thing.
But
Like
they don't know how to
But
build
you
the
don't
damn
know.
bridge.
Mercedes,
What?
what you're
Bridge,
telling me
MAGA.
is that you used to be a part of this community that you're going to talk to without a
Oh, yeah.
foundation to explain to them how they can change. So
Yeah,
if
no.
I'm MAGA, if I'm fascist MAGA, and I'm hearing, oh, police are hurting black people,
Well,
I
no,
don't
I'm
care
not
about
arguing
that.
that.
Then why would I care about the lack of foundation that you have to
That's
bring me to the other side?
when you said I'm MAGA, oh, the police are hurting black people, you just made the most contradictory statement because most of MAGA are not concerned about that
Yeah,
issue.
that's the point. So how are you going
I
to convince them through
know.
What was the
We're
point of
not,
how are
because
you
I'm
going
not
to
winning them on that
convince
issue.
them?
I'm never going to bring that
How
issue
are you
up to
going
them.
to
I'm never
convince
going
them
to
through
convince them.
debate that that's
I'm
even an
never-
issue?
What was that? You're never
I'm
going to
not
convince
bringing
them?
that issue to them. That is not the issue. that I'm
Okay,
going to
so
bring to
remember
them
when we
against
talked
them.
about what you're actually advocating
Mind
for?
you,
Can
this
you
is
tell us?
wait, hold on.
If
It's not
I
even
wanted,
that.
if I wanted someone who
This
was
is
MAGA,
something that you mentioned, Mercedes,
if I
in
wanted
regarding
someone,
to
if I
bridging
wanted someone to
gaps.
come over here who was MAGA, the last thing I'm going to be saying to them is, "Hey, I want you to come vote over here because."
But
well,
why
there's
should they though
police
if they don't
brutality.
care? Why should they?
Because blue votes usher in change.
Okay,
That's what I
listen,
wanted to talk
listen.
about. That was
Wait,
exactly
Mercedes,
what I wanted to
that's the
talk about.
foundation. That's a great idea, right? But you're telling MAGA to vote for what they think is this DEI hire black woman to control policies?
Yes.
Well, I mean,
No. I want to pick up on that point real quick because that was exactly
No,
what.
I want her
that
to
is
answer.
exactly
Like,
what
how does that make any
Mercedes-
sense?
Right.
Because what you're going to have to do is convince them of misogyny, convince them of racism.
no, I don't.
Yes,
Yes, you
you
do. Listen, this is
Mercedes.
why this is what I wanted to talk about earlier that you
Wait,
interrupted me
you
on.
don't.
Okay, this has to do. One second, Tom. This is
Right,
important.
Tom, isn't that crazy?
You are under the impression that voting changes culture, and in history, and as it has dictated, has
Rubbing his
never
thoughts over there.
been in that order whatsoever. Culture changes voting. Voting does not change culture. And you continue to use Barack Obama as an example. I would argue in many different ways that set us back on a number of different fronts that I'm not frankly willing to get into right now. But the idea that somehow we can trust people to vote and suddenly culture will shift in this drastic way that's sustainable over a lifetime period is laughable at best. We need to shift the culture by having these complex conversations about racism, about police reform, about misogyny, about ableism, such as Tom's R-slur. We can have these complex and difficult conversations with people in a way that they can understand. Pushing it to the back burner and saying it's not important, they'll just vote for us because we dumb it down and lead to the lowest common denominator is exactly how we continue to perpetuate the growth of fascism, is anti-intellectualism. Those go
Well,
hand in hand.
these are separate
Thank
things.
you.
Like one thing to like try to change
They're
the
not
culture to
separate
have
things. They fall
more.
under the same
Well,
concept.
no.
No,
I'm
they
I'm
don't.
saying what he's
They are not
talking about
separate
is separate. That like saying that you want to change
No,
the culture on TikTok is different than saying that like we're going to change the culture of the entire country. That like we can
What is
get
the
people to
culture?
vote. Hold on,
What
wait.
culture is
Hold
the
on,
culture?
hold on. We can get people to vote blue without changing the culture. We can get them to think that there are policies from somebody like Kamala Harris that are in their best interest without them thinking that like DEI is a big problem and they need to care about critical race theory and like all these other things. Like
So
we can
vote for a black woman?
yes. yes, that we
Well,
can
How
get
will you
them to
Yeah,
care
convince a
about these
racist
other
maggot
things.
to support
Yes.
Harris?
Okay.
What is
That
the
I don't
bridge to
think
convincing a
I don't think
racist
MAGA is the
to support
majority of
Harris?
people who voted for Trump. I don't think the statistically they're
Who
not.
the
Okay. How
Statistically
will
they're
you
like
convince a
30%.
racist Republican conservative to support Harris or any black person on
Who
any
is
level
it?
of government?
Centrist, independent.
Yes,
I'm asking how will you get them to support that
through
Make them
through
feel like they
economic
did
policy,
not vote
talking
for
about the
Trump as
fact that it would
majority,
be
is what I'm
better
hearing.
for their wallet, better for the economy, better for like all their personal wants and needs. That is the best way to get people to vote for
But what
a
if their
Democrat.
wants and needs are? If Kamala Harris is antithetical to their wants and needs, then why would they vote for her?
Exactly.
Again, economic policy is not like antithetical to it. If you can actually get
They
them to
don't see
understand
They
that.
don't
that,
They
I
see
know they don't
black
see
and
that.
they go
I know
boogity
they don't
boogity
see that.
boo.
I know they don't see that. That's the point, though.
They didn't even know about
Then
the-
how are you
Mercedes
getting them
is
to
saying.
vote for her?
Oh my goodness. Mercedes is saying that you don't have to get them to agree on all of these other things. You can get them to understand that those things are different. Whether or not you have like a specific plan to do that is a totally separate thing. I need you guys to understand first. We need to agree first that you could get people to see that Democrats are in their best interest economically and that they would want to vote for a Democrat, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Nobody's denying this, though, Tom. Nobody's
Okay,
denying this.
that's
The
fine.
issue is Mercedes doesn't. Wait, hold on. The issue is that Mercedes is not able to explain this. She doesn't even know where to actually start, right? She doesn't know, like, she's literally saying, hey, let's defeat fascism, but she's not talking about the fundamental concept of what goes along with fascism. Like, for example, racism, right? She brought up police brutality earlier, but she's not able to actually explain how we dismantle that. And that is going to be an issue considering the fact that she will be a part of this movement. She's saying that she wants to change TikTok culture. She's saying that she wants to get more blue votes, and that's great and all, surface level. But if she's not able to explain this to these individuals, to these red voters, so on and so forth, then what would be the point of her even like being a part of this movement? Like, I think that's a realistic question to ask.
Those are not okay. So the majority of
Money.
people don't change their minds based on like those sorts of things, anyways. Like they see things. So especially like rhetorically, most of the people, and especially online when it comes to influencing, most people change their minds because they see somebody that they respect, they like that person, and now they're more willing to listen to what that person has to say. And then once they respect somebody and hear them say things that before they might have found controversial, they're more willing to hear them out on those specific issues because they respected that person first, right? If they hear from people who say, yes, no, I'm the same as you, have the same values as you, all that, but I still thought that it was better for me to vote for a Democrat. We agree on most things, yet I still voted for a Democrat. Just a couple months ago, I was still a Republican, and I also thought the same things as you, but now I realize that I was wrong. Like, those are people that they're going to feel more heard by, more empathetic to, more represented by.
Yeah, no. I'm not.
Explaining this to
let's
three
make
black
this-
people
let's-
is insane to me.
let's-
But
Well,
Very
I'm
good.
sorry. I
Nobody's
find it
denying-
wild that I have to explain it. That I would think that black people would
the
understand.
problem
Excuse me?
is that you're not actually answering our questions. You don't have to explain it to us because we already know.
Yeah, we
We're
get
asking
this.
you how because like we actively do it. So I'm just
Wait,
Right,
but
so
you're
in
asking the
regards to,
question, I
for
answer the
example,
question,
when
and then
we're
you're saying I'm blown
you
away
didn't
that you're
answer the
explaining this to
question.
me.
You gave us concepts.
Wait,
So, Tom,
what
when
did
I
I not
asked
answer?
you-
Hold on,
when I-
wait. Hold on, wait.
I-
Meadow, what did I not answer?
Yeah, we're asking you how. So I'm a teacher, right? And my my principal hands me this curriculum and they're saying teach this to your students. And I go, sure. Students have to learn based on who they respect, an environment that is essential to their growth and development, right? But how am I going to do that? Then I would start to have to give you plans. So the concept is there, right? Teach the
Correct.
students. But how am I going to do that? So
But
someone
what
like
I
Mercedes,
just said
right?
is that.
One second. No, you didn't. You explained to us how people learn.
and listen to others,
No,
but you don't explain how. they listen.
No. Mercedes is that. Mercedes is that. She
Mercedes-
is the
one second,
person
Mercedes-
who was
not,
just.
though.
Hold on, wait. Mercedes is the person who was just a Republican
No,
shortly,
Mercedes-
and moved over
No, Tom, we're
and
not
voted.
disagreeing with that.
I'm saying
No.
she is the
You're not
representation.
listening.
She is
That's-
somebody
no,
that they would
she's
be
not the
willing
person
to
to
listen
do
to,
that.
and she can just explain why
let-
she did that and why she voted for
Wait,
Democrats,
Tom.
why she thought
Yes,
it was
and
more
you know what they're
beneficial.
going to call her? Mercedes.
A
The
traitor.
perspective of MAGA who saw you go from gays against grooming to a liberal
Hold
who
on one
voted for
second, one
Kamala,
One second.
they're going to call you a groomer.
Who is the right? No, the right.
The people that you're going to talk to, the people whose side you were on
No,
2
they're
months
not.
ago.
They're not.
Okay.
You're gonna tell me like so. Are
Wait,
you
that's
an
obviously true
ex-conservative by
about
any
some
chance?
people. Well, that's obviously true
I
about
would never
some
vote for a rapist.
people.
Absolutely not.
But that's
Okay, but
Yeah.
hold on. Are you an ex-conservative to any degree?
Absolutely not.
I think that's
Okay, so
probably why we should be
I've
distrusting
spent-
of you
I've
leading this
spent-
movement.
I've
Exactly.
spent so much time with these people my whole
I
entire
know
life.
you did.
And the majority of them are not calling people like me.
Wait, but that is the wait. Hold on, Mercedes. You're forgetting that you're not going
That's
to.
what we call
This isn't. This has nothing to
blindness.
do. This
Wait,
has
also,
nothing.
really quick.
Mercedes. This
Tom,
has
I think
nothing
your
to
microphone is
do.
coming down.
This has nothing to do with your hometown and the people that you grew up with. You're forgetting that you're going to be stepping out of this once you go on this tour. Okay, you're forgetting that you're going to come across some genuine extreme MAGA people. Okay,
I've already been
right.
across
Okay,
that.
so if you understand this, right, and if we already
Well,
agree
acting like
that
this isn't like
Please
my
stop
turn.
interrupting.
Mercedes, please just give me
Y'all
one moment.
acting.
Just give me one moment. Let me finish this real quick. Let me make this very clear. All three, Drayden, Meadow, me, Geek. You know, we think it's a smart tactic that you, as an ex-Republican, ex-MAGA, is going to go up there and talk to these people. That's surface level good. Okay, we're saying that this is smart. Our issue is that you don't know how you're going to actually convince these people. You don't understand the rhetoric that you're going to be able to break this down to them. You don't know where to start. Right? You just admitted that multiple times in this live.
You'd be surprised how many people are
You
voting
just
off
admitted.
of vibes.
You just admitted this multiple
you
times. in
Yes,
this live.
you did it. So like,
Right,
we know.
Mercedes, you quite literally
You guys
like-
are trying to bring
We know.
academia.
Why?
You
You're
guys
not
are trying
listening.
to fight these people with college degrees in academia.
You're not listening.
Academia. When I tell you,
That's not how. First of all, you've never asked us what our
you never
plan
said
was.
you
guarantee
that-
what our
I
understanding
would
is.
guarantee that like 35% of MAGA is voting. Maybe this is me being generous because it's probably a lot more. Are voting solely off of vibes. When we look at the fact that most of these people are on welfare, when we look at the fact that most of these people are actually fine with being
Yeah, because
left-wing
they are
policies,
not
but they
well
don't
read,
know.
right?
But they will not come
Wait,
over.
Mercedes, you agree?
Sucks.
Then you agree that these people are not well read, unfortunately, correct? Do we at least agree with that? They are not well read. They are not educated, correct?
50% of America doesn't read. 54% of America doesn't even read
Okay,
it.
I'm talking. Sure, Mercedes. That's
Percent of
fine.
you.
I don't know why you're
I wonder
fighting.
who that 54% voted for.
Mercedes, you just made it 30%.
And then you just said that we're gonna fight them with
30% of
disease.
I don't know
MAGA.
who's talking. I don't
Education?
know who's saying what.
Well, I'm the D
Sorry,
voice.
go ahead.
No. Mercedes,
I was just
you
no.
admitted-
Sorry, I just want to clarify. I'm confused
Go
at the point that you just brought up the fact that half of Americans can't read, and then try to kind of like, I don't throw it at us that we're
gonna
gonna
hear
fight
people-
them.
at least
That we're
my
gonna.
point-
Oh, I thought I was still talking. Sorry. That we're gonna fight them with education.
We're gonna fight them with culture. I am going to fight them.
Okay. Yeah. So the culture of people who can't read,
Yeah.
you're not
Yeah,
gonna
you
fight
just
them with
admitted to.
education.
But is this not targeting college campuses? Aren't we under the
Literally.
presumption
We're
that
doing
they're
way more
literate?
than that. This is going to be way more than just college campuses. Like,
Where's it going?
we're not going to talk about that. But at the end of the day, like,
Okay.
build up something that actually can reach all demographics of people where they're at,
Which is
Which is
where?
a lack of education.
which is everywhere.
So you're going to combat the lack of education with a further lack of education just on what you
Wait,
deem as
I'm
the
sorry.
right, or excuse me,
Because
the
if
left.
You think that these people care about you really think the crowd, Charlie Kirk's #1 selling book is something college is a scam. Do you think that this crowd gives a fuck about your education? They don't give two shits in a damn.
So you're
They are
going to get
literally
college
voting-
students.
They are literally voting off of vibes and culture.
Okay,
The
so
majority of
Mercedes, what
people-
you're
This is
saying
kind of bad,
is
Mercedes.
the majority
This
of people
this
who
is
gather
bad.
around the majority of people who gather around Charlie Kirk's tents are not there because of policy. Most of them are there because the vibes of the Republican Party is all they know. It's how they were raised. It's the only thing that they think will accept them the way that they are. The culture on the left is just, it's like it's the tightest thing I've ever.
it's not vibes.
It's
Right.
not
I would, Mercedes, I think that the issue is saying that they're only going based off vibes would still not help you make them vote blue. And
Oh,
let's
yeah.
just be realistic, right? And I'm only saying this in regards to like a, what?
They like my vibes.
Oh,
No, they don't.
Probably because
No,
you're
they don't. I could tell you
That's
for
fine.
sure. I could tell you for sure that they don't.
None of
Almost
it.
great
certainly
and
that they
all.
don't.
I,
Mercedes. I'm sorry,
glad
but
that you
what
can
you're
hype yourself
saying.
up.
Yeah, what you're saying is that what's confusing me is that you're saying like their vote is based off of vibes. So to change their vote, you're just gonna give them different vibes.
Right, and how exactly are you actually? Let's actually talk about your vibe then, right? Let's say that you're talking to somebody that is a present manga, right? And let's say you're trying to engage with them, trying to hopefully get them to register voting blue within the near future, especially definitely before 2028, right? Let's say what vibe would you get off? Let's say they're talking about. Let's say they're talking about racism, right? Because they love bringing up race for some reason.
They don't know. You guys talk about that more than they ever will.
No, that is actually fundamentally not true. MAGA is always
No, that is
talking about-
fundamentally true.
That is not true.
To the point, wait, but you've already said that those are things that we
They
wouldn't
talk
talk
about
to them about.
replacement
Like
theory.
again, we're talking to
They
them about
create-
things that would convince them, that would
They
benefit
create
them
it.
specifically.
Tom, to be fair, I bring this up
Nothing
only because white men in particular that voted mostly for who? Trump this election actively talk about how they feel like they're not heard in regards to this election. They do feel like they're being oppressed, so on and so forth. These are conversations that they have, right?
Mhm.
Right, and that's all I'm saying, Tom. So Mercedes, let's say this white person is saying like, "Hey, I think Trump's going to make America great again." Push white men forward, yada yada yada. That's the vibe. How are you going to be able to combat that?
What?
What type of rhetoric are you
Dude.
playing?
I don't know why you're asking her these questions. Like, why would she have to answer this for
Because
you?
that's what-
Well,
I
you
don't
can
think
pipe
that
down. This isn't your
you are
conversation.
going to sit here and tell her, no, this is really how to
the
convince
crash.
MAGA.
Tom,
Guys,
to be
I
fair,
know
I'm
how to
being
do it.
Tom.
I'm the one who understands
Tom,
convincing
you're turning
MAGA.
red.
Wait,
Allie
Tom, I'm
and
only
Meadow
saying
and
this.
Tom.
Jaden, they're the convincing
Tom.
MAGA experts
what are you
over
doing?
here.
I'm not saying
What
that.
you know what, MAGA?
Tom,
You need to
Tom.
deconstruct your racism. That's what
Tom,
you
I'm
need to
not.
do. You need to understand your
Tom, I like
how
whiteness.
you
I don't
haven't
say
You
that.
need to
I don't
recognize
say
your
that.
privilege.
Tom,
You need to sit
Wait,
down
wait,
and
You're
shut
not
up
listening.
and listen to black
Stop
women.
looking at me
That's
with
what
those
you
Yeah,
eyes.
need
no,
to
that's
do.
exactly how I talk to my students.
Tom,
Yeah.
I
I 100%
Yeah,
believe
see,
it. I
like,
think
the
that's
fact that you
exactly what you guys
characterize
do.
our approach to this
Wait,
as the
hold
way
on.
that you're
I
doing.
think that was weird, Tom. To be realistic, wait, hold on, Tom. I think that was really weird of you to do because admittedly, Mercedes literally said that she has a great fucking vibe, right? Amazing vibe, and she's gonna be
I have
able
a
to talk to
great
these
vibe.
people. I'm only asking her in regarding to that. I'm not trying to do this weird haha gotcha. I want to be the leader.
I
That's
said this in
fucking weird.
response to people
I'm
saying
asking
she
for
doesn't
her-
have a vibe that would be convincing. That's what I just
No,
responded.
that's not
Well, she
what
does.
we're
I'm
saying.
not saying that
That you don't
either.
have
The
it.
lifelong leftist.
God damn it! Listen,
Tom, that's
my
not
bad.
what we're saying. Nobody
That is
said
literally
I'm
what
not
Jaden
talking
just
about-
said. That is literally
We're
what
not-
Jaden just
okay,
said.
sorry. I'm sorry. Jaden did
Okay,
talk
to
about
be
her
fair,
vibe.
I didn't say that.
I was
and I was the one to
asking-
ask the question. To be fair, Tom, I was the one to ask the question. I didn't say that. But
Sure,
no,
but
no,
that's
I'm
what
just-
I
I'm
was
just
responding
saying,
to.
Mercedes-
But go ahead.
Okay,
So I'm
that's
sorry.
fine.
Okay, well, there's 2
You're-
other people in the
Can she
conversation.
can she
Yeah.
engage really quickly before we pivot?
Sorry,
Like,
yeah.
I do apologize, Mercedes. Let me ask you again. You said you're going off of vibes.
Excuse me?
You guys want to hear about my vibes?
No, we want to
By
hear
all
about how
means.
you're going to vibe out with a white with a white Republican that wants to vote for Trump in 2028.
I'd take them fishing first.
Oh my fucking god!
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah. We'd probably go fishing first, yeah.
Okay, next.
And then we
Not even for steak? That's crazy.
fishing over steak.
Just get past that. What happens now?
Geek, don't.
You guys know the vibes.
I don't want to bring that up again, please.
Okay, what happens after the fishing?
Well, we'd just be friends. We'd talk about the fishing. We'd probably go on another fishing trip, and we'd.
Okay, past the fishing point, at some
This is
point
just
you're
like
going to need to
her daily
convince them
life,
to
I
come
mean.
over to the left.
Yeah, by showing them the proper vibes. Be like, I have these vibes. You have
Right,
these
and if they
vibes.
disagree, they're going to say, okay, well, that's cool. I'm still going to vote the way I do. Then what? Have you thought that far?
If, but
Then
my
that's that.
vibes
What
are
do you
gonna
I
be
mean,
mean?
that
all-
What else?
happens.
So the point
Nobody is
is the
denying
point
that food is a great way to start from
No,
somebody.
fishing
being
is
familiar
not. No,
with you.
fishing. Oh my god.
You know
Fishing
who
is
else
an
helped
activity.
people with food?
No, this is an activity, guys. Fishing.
No. To be fair, I mean,
Sorry, just
I'm also a
historical
very
fact.
Like going out for like fish and chips.
yeah. No. I'm also
We're
a
talking about
country
going
girl.
fishing.
I'm also a
Jesus
country girl. My
Christ.
dad would.
Ended up
Fair Mercedes,
being
I
tennis
understand what
badly.
you're saying. You typically what we
know
do,
what?
us country girls will really go out, get some fish, right? And then literally we'll go back home, literally and cook it up. I'm very familiar with that. That's typically what you do. That's why you would go fishing is to cook dinner that very night. So that's why. So if you're going fishing and you're going to cook them this fish, right? I'm asking you, how would that conversation go? Let's say they bring this up to you like first.
Am I supposed to like do like a two? Do you want me to like do two different accents here, like MAGA and?
Yeah, let's do it. No, how about
actually,
I
yeah,
do
let's
that?
How about I do
You be
that?
you.
Well, you guys
Or
can
Jaden,
be
you
MAGA
better,
if you're
Jaden.
never
I'll
MAGA.
do
But
it.
actually, let's get
You guys-
Tom.
I
Let's
don't
get
think you guys
Tom
could
to
have
come in
registered.
here.
No, I'm an actor. I'll do the part.
Yeah, let Jaden do it.
Okay, what do you think if we were going fishing? What do you think the first thing a MAGA person would say is?
Well, what kind of rod are you using?
A bait
What
count.
kind of bait we got?
Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad, Jaden.
All right. Cast off.
No one says that.
I don't know.
That was
I
good
don't
though. That was
fish.
good. It was good. It was good.
Let's skip to the part of the conversation being brought up.
Why?
Fish on
Why?
would've been-
Why? Can I get why? Why?
Well,
In all
Mercedes is so
honesty,
certain
Tom, to
that
be
this
fair-
is effective.
Yes, because I flipped people. I literally flipping people. It happens all the time. People are just like, "Wow, Mercedes, you know, I see that you got 230 pump actions crossing your profile picture over on Instagram. You're fishing and hunting, and you vote left." And they're like, "I didn't even know this was a goddamn thing. You fucking turn wrenches and you fucking ranch cattle. Holy shit! You drive this many diesels? Oh my god, you're just one of us. You're MAGA coded as fuck."
But wait, hold on one second, Mercedes. Let me
How is that
clarify.
flipping people?
I want to make sure I
Culture.
understand this.
I
You're
keep trying to
saying
explain to you guys that people, I think you severely underestimate how many people bait or vote
so,
based solely off of culture.
just to clarify, you're saying your vibe is so fucking cool that just
No,
by
it's
talking
not
to you
city
and
folk.
going
It's
fishing,
not a city folk vibe.
they are going to vote
Okay.
blue.
Okay,
Right.
I do have a question that's
What's the
essential to
symmetry
vibes
break
real quick.
there?
That could be an outcome for sure.
Mercedes.
How will it be an
Oh,
outcome?
no.
Explain in practical terms. Please
I don't
be
know, I feel like
specific.
he's joking,
Be
y'all.
detailed. Give some kind of comprehensive, articulate,
Because-
goddamn
because
explanation as to
I've-
how.
Like, he's joking.
It's called befriending. If you want me to be able to explain to you how, like, a
hope she's
year-long
joking.
friendship, investment of time into someone to
You're gonna
get them to
become
actually
friends?
understand.
Yes, I want to befriend these
No,
people.
I'm saying, but like you guys are planning on going to like a school.
My
Somewhere, right?
approach. My approach when I go to the school. So, for example, all of us have our different approaches. Each group has a
Yeah, of
different
course,
approach.
of course.
My approach is to make sandwiches, turkey and cheese. We're gonna throw some Doritos in a bag with some lemonade pouches and or Crystal Light in a fucking water bottle, and I'm gonna go pass these out to all the MAGA people. And I'm
Wow,
gonna,
that makes me want to up in years of systemic racism.
yeah, it will. It's literally called.
Who has that worked on?
Are you just trying to get your like foot in the door by just
Wait,
saying that?
she can't up in systemic racism. She just got. Never mind.
Well, I
Alright.
know.
I'm gonna tackle it with these turkey and cheese sandwiches, man.
And then what? There has to be something that. Okay, you have the A part. We're
creating a
looking
vibe.
for what bridges the gap
She said
from B
Kool-Aid.
to
Y'all want some
C,
fried- No,
which is
no.
getting them to vote for the left.
Yeah, creating an environment. For example, like the amount of people who messaged me on the last live, the live of the century that happened, whatever, how many days ago, messaged me and they're like, "Wow, Mercedes, I am a MAGA person, but I've decided to follow you now because you don't seem like a crazy leftist." And I said, "You're welcome here." And then
That's the thing. They view you as tolerable. They
Yes.
view you as the one example that doesn't make them any
think
more
that is
likely
the
to
point,
vote
to
this
be
way.
fair.
I view myself.
Yes,
as
they
tolerable
view you
too.
as
And I view
palatable
people-
for
I view
MAGA.
people like
Wait,
me.
but that's my thing, Mercedes.
That's
At what-
bad.
Mercedes,
That's like
at-
being the one black person white people like.
No, it's. I think.
Oh
you
my
guys are
goodness. Yeah, I
really
can't.
safe
Like,
that-
I'm sorry. This is like this is ridiculous
Shut
because
up,
yes,
Tom.
th-
That
this
is
is
an
this is
exemplary
insane.
model
Because
for you there.
no,
I
it
don't think
doesn't
it's
like
insane. I
there's
do have a really
literally
good question now.
I literally I don't understand why this even matters. Like if she thinks
Because
that
I
this is
was-
gonna work
Because she
and
is
you don't
trying
think
to
it's gonna
propel
work,
herself
okay,
to
that's
the
fine.
I think
forefront.
y'all
You
don't
disagree.
understand just
Show
why
me
there's
when
a
it
lack of
has.
representation.
We all agreed at the beginning, right? When
Why
I
have
talked
that?
about the fact that like representation is something that convinces people that somebody liking somebody is the thing that like first gets them in the door to be able to hear
Right,
them out and
it's a
hear what
step
they
in,
think.
sure.
Yes, that is, and then that person just saying, "This is why I voted for Democrats." Like that is how it normally works. That is how these things
No, we're
normally
not-
change.
so no, just to
In
clarify, I feel like
individual,
there's
I
some
just
type
want
of
to say, in
confusion here then.
individual circumstances, obviously, when it comes to like going on a campus and talking to a ton of people, that's not something that's going to work. But there is no like system where we can say, I will stand in front of a crowd and I will say this code, and then everybody will know that Democrats are so much better, and I'll put up, down,
Yeah,
ABA,
no, we're
and
not
now.
saying that either. To be fair, I don't know bro, maybe you're not. Tom, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think you're listening.
I don't think you.
Obviously, we were being very extra with the whole "let's go fishing" shit. Okay, that's fine.
No,
But
she
we-
suggested
we
that.
were. I think that was her.
exactly what I was
but
doing.
we
that's
are
what she wanted to
agreeing.
do.
But to
In
be
order to
fair,
get
she
someone
brought
to
this.
come over here.
But to be fair,
Do you
she
want me to
brought it
write
up.
down my
Hold
whole
on,
diary?
hold
And
on.
here-
Let Ali
here's the
finish.
thing.
Hold on, let
Mercedes,
Ali
calm down,
finish.
calm down. Yeah. I just wanted to clarify. We already agreed. This is like Jaden just literally said, "Hey, this is like a step in the door." Okay, that's great. That's fine.
Mhm.
That's dandy. We already agree with that, right? All we're saying is, okay, so what's your next move? That's all. That's quite literally it, Tom.
Yeah,
Like,
I-
I don't
I-
Yes,
understand
but
how
I
this is a
but
bad thing to
we have
say.
said numerous times that like if she just says why she voted for Dems and what made her change her mind or what makes her believe these things, like that is about it. Like it just makes it more acceptable to them. These people do the work by themselves most of the time. When I switched from being a Republican to a Democrat, like most
Let
of
me
that was me sitting and thinking about these things by myself and trying to realize, oh, maybe I do think something different than I've always
Right,
believed.
but
Like maybe
let's
this is
think
correct.
about it, right? Actually, Mercedes, if you don't mind, I'm going to use you as an example, right? You said you kind of engaged with Dean's debates, and you're like, oh, but
Destiny was like, okay, let me clarify. Let's clarify this real quick. Destiny's the first one to break through my algorithm.
okay.
Now, Destiny is one of those debaters. Top fucking respect that guy. Like
He's crazy ableist.
we attribute him to probably more fucking
Also dealing with
MAGA-
sexual
It's too woke.
allegations.
Don't say that, Jaden.
Yeah,
MAGA to left.
he committed an act of revenge porn.
Hold on. Here we go.
Here we go. He is
Here,
not a
hold
model
on,
citizen.
hold
He
on,
committed
hold on.
revenge porn.
It doesn't
and
matter. She's
exposing
telling you
somebody's
what
nudes
convinced her. It
publicly.
doesn't
That
matter.
does matter.
It doesn't matter.
You're using him as an example.
Oh my goodness!
of
It
who
is
to follow
that she is
behind.
giving you a historical. She's telling
these
you what
horrible
happened.
character flaws and
Oh my
literal
goodness!
crimes
It doesn't matter.
need to be decried.
It doesn't fucking
isn't
matter.
cancel culture.
It doesn't matter.
It's
It doesn't.
accountability.
Nobody's saying anything about cancel culture. All that matters is she's telling you what changed her mind. The fact that she's explaining to you what changed her mind, yet you're sitting here as the person who's supposed to know what changes people's minds. Yet she's just telling you a historical fact of what changed her
Her mind hasn't been
and-
changed.
Oh my
Well,
She's still a conservative.
Okay, maybe she's
that
still a
bother you?
conservative. She voted for
Yes,
Democrats.
because
Like that
you're
is the point.
trying to take the mantle of what is the new left.
Wait,
You're
no,
a
no,
conservative. You're not. If anything, I'd argue you're more susceptible to being
Tom, you have
converted
to
back to
admit
MAGA than you are any MAGA coming over
Yeah,
here.
just to be
Hold on,
clear,
you have
I
to
don't
admit
believe in
you-
this idea of the new left. I don't believe in this. I think that the type of like liberal that I am, the type of liberal that Destiny is, the type of liberal that like most of us are, I think that's by far the majority of liberals and Democrats already. I don't think it's like new. I think it's just getting them, involved.
I think the issue is that you guys are like a lot of liberals like nowadays are like grew up on YouTube are just stuck in their ways of believing that there's a very strict view of how we should deal with things when realistically society has changed. The way that we actually talk about things like racism, like gender, so on and so forth has changed. And I'm not understanding why you guys can't get with the program. But nevertheless, let's actually go back to
I was
Mercedes.
trying to explain. Okay,
Yeah,
so
let's-
before
yeah,
you guys
go
speak
ahead.
down
Yeah.
about Destiny, so you guys were saying that Dean changed my mind, and like Dean came later, right? Watching Destiny debate. Hold on, don't go crazy on me. Watching him debate,
What?
I was like, holy shit, this guy just slammed down Adam Calhoun. And I was in a room with Adam Calhoun 3 weeks prior to watching that video, and I was like, holy shit, this was just information that I didn't even hear before, and I took to Google and researched it, and I was like, wow, this guy's fucking right on this. And the thing is about Destiny, it being someone who is a right-wing influencer, the right is scared as fuck of Destiny because of his culture. So because the guy is so anti-politically correct, the right have a like name for him. When we talk about him, we call him the Destiny Pipeline. And we joke about how conservatives were getting sucked up the Destiny Pipeline and sent over to the blue side. Because this guy would come in and he had a culture about him that just wasn't politically correct. It appealed to MAGA. He laid down the facts, which even if he was laying down facts or not, half of these people just chose to go follow Destiny simply because they're like, oh, I guess I can agree with the policy, but I really like the culture. And they just flopped over there. You know what I mean? So it's like, for example, like Dean, I was watching him debate and that was fine for a while. Now, like Dean's debates is not something that I would watch because I'm not that far left. I'm just a liberal. So like, Destiny is someone I would watch if I wanted to watch a debate, or like Tom is. I would 100% watch Tom if I wanted to hear a debate that I thought represented like more of a cultural shift in a way that wasn't so weaponizing every single identity and using that as a shield.
It's not a cultural shift, okay? He very much still engages in things like ableism, in things like transphobia, in things like misogyny, in things like this red pill bro culture of not zeroing in on when actual actions violate people's consent. That is the culture that resonates with MAGA. This isn't the alternative. No, this is a blue-coded version of just the very thing that they embody. They may see it as slightly more intelligent than what they're used to, but this is exactly the same tenets that we commonly see amongst right-wing streamers and creators. There's no difference.
Yeah,
Same
but that is
side, two
part of the
different sides of the
pipeline.
same
Is I
coin.
think what she's saying is that that is part of the pipeline. Like even people like you guys would be happier that they're at least moving. Like even I'm happy if somebody stops being a groiper and starts being in MAGA, right? Like that's at least somewhat of an improvement. Or they stop being MAGA and they become a neocon. Like these are always improvements moving closer to me. And so you guys talk about people like Destiny, which obviously he's not your ideal character, but he's obviously better than somebody voting for Donald Trump and continuing that.
But I
culture.
reject the
Like,
premise that this is a culture shift.
What-
Destiny
what-
does not represent a cultural shift.
cultural shift in what? Because I think she's talking about a cultural shift on TikTok.
Well, that's a
not,
question for Mercedes.
What? Mercedes,
Yeah,
you're
but
talking
you're
about a
right.
cultural
What
shift
culture
on
does he-
TikTok,
What
right?
culture does he shift towards? Right. What does that look like? Because if we're still characterizing things like, and if we're still embodying things like misogyny, like homophobia, like racism, and not willing to call those things out, what does that future culture look like to you?
Like that.
Well, I don't think.
Hello?
Yes, like that. Like
What
what
happened?
you call all of those things, that is the cultural shift. That is what I think the rest of us are talking about, where you
So
guys
ignoring
call,
what I said is the culture that you want.
Why
yes,
is it-
all
It
the
is-
things that
no,
like
no, no, this
yes,
is not-
all of the
this is
things
not-
that
this
you
is
talk
not
about
beyond
is like
reproach here.
misogyny,
You
all the
do
things you call
use the
racism,
R slur.
transphobia,
Yes, you are
like
an
all those
ableist.
things.
Tom,
Yes,
you
this is
are
what-
in fact an
sure,
ableist. You
sure,
wrote
yes,
a
this is
song
what
that
we're
has
talking
the
about.
R slur in it. Yes, yes,
This
yes,
is what we're
right.
talking about.
And you think it's wrong that I call that out. That's the culture
wrote
that
a
you
song
want.
that
And
had the
I
R
and
slur
Meadow
in it.
and Geek don't.
Okay, yeah, sure, exactly. That is what we're
You know
saying.
you
is that,
did.
yes, we are different. I don't know what you're talking about, but sure, I don't. I'll assume that you're correct. I have no idea what you're talking about. When did I write a song?
You'll
I've not-
assume.
Do you want the
I don't
tweet
even-
too?
Correct.
With
I wrote a
doesn't
song
even
in a
honestly
tweet.
care.
You said, quote, the person who doesn't understand the topic and can't explain their position thinks I'm R slur. And they're a fucking leftist. You have another one on, what was this?
I was
August
asking about a
25th of
song.
last
I
year?
don't
He's not an
disagree that
R
I use
slur.
the R word. I never disagreed that I use the R word. I
Okay,
asked if,
you,
about a
that's not my
song.
point. That's not my point. You think that me calling that out is counterintuitive, is counterproductive, and should be the culture moving forward, is not
No.
calling that out.
No, you can call it out. I don't have a problem
Yes,
with you
you
calling
do.
it out. No, I don't. I don't have a problem
Then
with
what do
you
you have a
calling it out.
problem with? Because you decried the fact that I called out racism, misogyny, ableism, and the other isms that have been perpetuated. So what does the culture look like moving forward, if not these difficult conversations and holding people accountable?
It's the vibes, Jaden.
The vibes. Oh yeah, the vibes.
No, again, I don't have a problem with you calling people out for using the R slur. Like that's not. I don't have a problem with that. I'm saying that when you
Then what do you
say-
have a disagreement with?
Well, I am not ableist because I use the R slur, but I will agree the R slur is
Does it
ableist.
make
I
you?
will say that. But I would say that I don't have a bias
I'm not
against
racist just
I'm
because
not
I
people
use
racist
the
who are
because I
N-word.
call black people hard R.
Yeah.
Yes, correct. 100%.
Word
Yes.
versus?
100%.
What?
Make that make sense, please.
100%.
Yeah, okay.
You know,
How
I
can
love
you
that.
not be?
No, I'm getting. No, I'm
100%.
understanding it now. No, I'm getting it.
Tom, please.
I like
I
this.
really
Yeah,
don't.
this
I
is a good
really-
idea.
Can you stop? So sorry, not Tom. Can we please get back to Mercedes answering the culture shift herself, Tom, if you don't mind? I
We
know
can
like
get
you're
back to that
jumping
in
in
a
here,
moment.
but I would love to hear about why she's not like sitting back and letting you answer everything, Tom. Like I understand she thinks that you're this great debater, and that's perfect. But at the same time, once again, she's going to be out with these people. She should probably know how to answer this stuff. To be fair, can she engage with that real quick?
She can't. And neither can you, Tom. You are intellectually dishonest and incapable of having these complex and difficult conversations moving forward. I don't know what the future of your streaming platform looks like. I wish you the best of success and probably
you're
many
retarded.
donations too. You've gotten a few tonight. But if you're trying to change the culture, then I can guarantee you will be nothing but an unequivocal failure.
Okay.
Oh no.
Mercedes, can you answer the question now? We've been waiting, honestly. That's why Tom spoke up. Like, I think Tom just spoke because you were quiet, to be fair. So
I got like one more question before I like go to bed. So
yeah.
let's like speed this up.
What does the culture shift look like to you, Mercedes? You said, like, that's what you said in your own words. So what does that mean, and what does that look like?
Yeah, so I think a cultural shift to me would look like being able to have conversations with people, disagreeing in those conversations. Maybe people start like arguing a little bit, right? And it doesn't turn into a weaponization of someone's identity when we're just having like conversations that have nothing to do with anyone's identity. I'd say a good cultural shift would be, I don't know, just like being able to say what you want without getting policed constantly if you as a person aren't that thing. Like, I think we're using our words, like racism is doing heavy lifting in the leftist spaces against people who aren't even actually racist.
Wait, so is it not apt of me to call out ableism when somebody uses the R slur to describe people?
What is
Okay, never mind. Why don't we even ask you questions? I mean, you're not capable of having these conversations with, let alone me.
I'm trying to formulate, like, because I guess, like, for me, like, I personally, like, okay, so if Tom were to say it, it doesn't bother me. Or like if
It doesn't bother you. I
What?
know. It bothers people who have a disability.
I know.
It
many
bothers
want to
me.
go-
I'm pretty sure Trump signed an
not only
executive
on the
order that
spectrum,
says
but
we're
my
allowed
dad's
to
on the
use the
spectrum.
R word now.
Okay, so
What?
if a black
What are
person
you
says
saying,
it's
Tom?
okay to like say the hard R, it's just cool because
I think he's trying to make a joke.
part of the
Ignore him.
community.
With that
Don't
being
ever try
said,
comedy.
with that being said,
You are
Mercedes,
very bad at it, I will say. I've seen some of your
I'm
work.
not trying to impress
Mercedes,
you
what did
guys.
you
I promise.
mean?
You guys
I
are
wanna
not
work on
people
that,
that I'm
buddy.
working for.
It's
can
not
we
that hard
ask?
to be funny.
Quit
we
your
ask
day
Mer-
job.
So sorry, y'all. Can we ask Mercedes what the heck she meant by like actual racism? If you don't mind, so she said it. I'm actually just curious. I'm not
I've
trying to
accepted
be
the
like
fact that I'm
offended
never
at
going to
all.
bed, so I guess we're good.
You guys will like, you will take someone like Shiloh Hendricks, and then you'll take someone like Z, and you'll put them in the same category, and you'll give them the same exact public
Who's
response.
Shiloh Hendricks, y'all?
I don't know who the fuck that is.
Yeah,
What the fuck is
I was like,
that?
what the fuck is Shiloh Hendricks? I apologize, Mercedes. I don't know how old you are, but I'm very young and
Oh,
youthful,
Shiloh
so-
Hendricks was
I don't know who that is.
woman who called a
Oh, yeah, okay.
The
yeah.
child.
yeah, that's yeah.
So you're okay,
So-
Mercedes. It sounds like I understand now. You're saying racism is slurring. Racism is
Not
not
necessarily.
microaggression, right?
What I'm saying is like
Don't typically call races by
for
name.
example,
Say
for example,
that racist lady who called.
No, for example,
Mhm.
the internet wants to say that, oh, Mercedes, you're a racist because Ray came up in a live, right? He comes up in this live, and this is someone who, working on the sidelines to try to make him have just kind of start realizing some things and whatnot, having phone calls with him, treating him
Okay.
like a fellow human, right? And it's one of those things that he comes up in this live, and
Let's not use him as never mind. Go ahead. Never mind.
well, what I'm saying is he comes up in this live and he plays a video, right? And we're all watching this video. I'm extremely uncomfortable as this video is playing. Now,
Is that what we call?
I'm
Sorry.
extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
people are like,
Comfortable as
oh.
in laughing or and
but
smirking.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like basic psychology, you just go do a Google search on it. When people are extremely uncomfortable,
You know what
I'm-
psychology is.
I'm heavily breathing and like I look like the most uncomfortable person.
Poor
on the
you.
planet. Even some of the leftists that I've talked to behind the scenes were like, "Yeah, I can actually tell you were just uncomfortable." And I'm like, "Oh, well, thank you."
I've never seen somebody tokenize a leftist.
But what I'm
No,
saying
that's-
is, so this right there.
That was new. That was a joke.
We're
Calm down.
Tokenizing a
Jesus.
leftist. It's like
That was a
that's-
joke.
Come on,
Calm down.
That's the culture. That's the culture that I mean, like where we take things and we tokenize.
So was the video racist or not?
Yes, the video was. What I'm saying.
Okay, then what's the culture that you're decrying here?
The culture is to sit there and be like, oh, Mercedes is a racist for feeling uncomfortable by the live, and we are going to do this moment where we zoom in
Who
on
in
their
the
face.
fuck said that?
Oh my
Don't
God.
ever
Who in the
imitate
fuck
black
said
people.
No, there
Don't
were a
ever
bunch of
imitate
people
how
who
black
were
people
in my
responded to
chat.
that. No,
There
no,
were a
no,
bunch
no,
of
no, no,
people
no, no, no,
afterwards
no,
who
no.
were
Don't
in my
strawman
chat
us.
saying,
Don't
"Hold on, no, no, no,
characterize
hold
it
on,
the
hold
way
on,
you
hold on,
do.
No
hold
one
on,
is
hold on."
imitating
There were a
black
bunch of people who were
You
in
just
my
did
chat
that.
afterwards
No.
saying that she was racist for having him on the live. I didn't say anything about black people. I don't know if they
Oh,
were
not
black or
having
white,
him on the
but there
live.
were
No,
a
not
bunch of
that, not
people
that, not that.
who.
She was laughing at it.
I don't
No, but I'm
understand.
saying there were
Jonathan,
people
go
who
ahead.
were saying she was racist for having him on the live, and then when I said how, they said, "Well, did you not see the video that he played?" There were numerous people
Well,
in my
yeah,
chat
those are two
right
different
after
things.
saying
I
this.
agree, sure, but yeah, two different things. But realistically, let's be honest, though, and I hate to say it, anybody could probably look at you, Mercedes, while that video was playing and go like, "Is she smirking? Is she
Can you let
laughing?"
Naquan up, please?
And I don't know why. Like, I understand that makes you uncomfortable because you probably don't think, like, you don't deem yourself to be racist, which you are, by the way. You don't deem yourself to be racist, and that's fine, right? However, realistically, when we're talking about this, even basic psychology, you have to realize that people are going to be like, "Oh, okay, so it seems like Mercedes thinks this like monkey joke about a black man is racist. Like, they think this is funny."
Well, you
Like,
think
I'm
that,
just
you think
saying.
the left who
Since we're
prides
talking about
themselves-
basic psychology and
the
all.
left who prides themselves on nuance and Google,
You have none.
the leftists who pride themselves on nuance.
But you don't pride yourself on nuance?
I'm not
Nuance
talking
and
about me.
Google?
The left
Google?
who prides themselves on using nuance and logic, and Google could not deduce from a and you guys didn't even like. It's like you guys chose not to watch the rest of the live. Where I'm the one who.
I was in the
Hold
box
on,
an hour and a half.
Hold on.
Right. A
I'm
lot
the
of us
one-
were in there
Remember how
watching.
you said I'd be
Both of them were in
disruptive
the box.
and unproductive?
1 second. Just be quiet for 1 second.
Okay,
I'm
I'll
the
shut
one
up.
who dropped Ray Ray, for one. I'm the one who dropped Ray Ray. That
The
was
bare
nitpick.
minimum.
That was nitpick. The fact that I said Zombie wanted to engage with him, so we let Zombie engage with him. That was nitpicked because apparently we didn't let him. We let him engage too much. Then we didn't let him engage enough. My response of being uncomfortable, even though I said, "Hey, dude, this was racist. This was not okay." Even though I said that on the live, you guys, it's not good enough for you, and that you guys go to nitpicking.
Oh no! I don't have my
Hold on,
issue.
when it comes down to nitpicking facial expressions, that is the culture on the left. That can
It's
go.
not a culture. That's not a culture. That's psychology. Can you let in Naquan, please?
Oh
My
my goodness,
issue,
no.
Mercedes.
Oh my
issue-
goodness, no. Why not?
I
needs
was, oh my
another
goodness to your
person there to
statement,
defend
and then no, yeah, I'm trying to like I was hoping this was gonna wrap up at some point and then move
Yeah.
on to other people.
Okay, I
but-
can. He can take my spot if
mean-
you like. Is that better? I think he deserves a spot at the conversation here
Why?
I don't know who Daquan is, but I don't really. That's fine. Whatever.
because your viewers want that.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of them are wanting.
This
But-
is a show, right? Like, I mean, put on a show.
Yeah, no. If you don't mind, Mercedes, I don't. I don't. think-
Why you got so much attention on me? Like, why am I the
Honey,
Because
you are the
you
person
have
that-
appointed yourself to a position
Yes.
To be
of.
fair,
I'm not in a position of power just because I'm like the fault. I am.
Nobody's
Never
saying
said
that
power.
you are.
Just because I'm
one of
responsible
the
for making
creators-
people switch over to my side doesn't mean I have to explain
Just
why people
because
are
I'm
switching
a
over to my
creator
side.
on this tour.
I'm
you
not
guys
trying to put
understand
you on the
yourself
spotlight, Mercedes, but to be fair, you did come up here and say that you want to be a part of this movement to
You
like
guys are
change
part of this
minds.
movement, but you guys
and-
are acting like this whole entire thing is the Mercedes show. Like this
No,
is
no,
No,
well,
I'm
we're
not.
trying
Then why are you
to
up
be
here?
fair. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, we're
Why are you
not
talking to
trying to.
us?
It's just that you are one of the people that are going to be on this tour. I feel like
Why are you
I don't-
talking to us then?
I'm not
Like,
sure.
I feel like we're being like kind of respectful. I don't know.
You guys are being bad, but it's just like it's a cultural. I'm excited.
You can be
for-
excited.
for-
Yeah,
Can
I
I
think
not?
You guys, I say one word and you guys just go. I'm
well, because
I mean,
you've
to
kind of
be
been
fair-
talking, and
Oh
I've been
my
trying
God,
to
oh
ask
my
you a
God.
question.
wait.
Oh
to
my
be
God.
fair, Mercedes, that's disingenuous. You've interrupted Jaden multiple times, me
This is-
multiple
it's been a-
times.
it's been a-
So
It's been a fest for sure. What I'm
Yeah, go
saying,
ahead.
is, you guys have a culture on the left that you guys enjoy, and I think that is great. And I think you guys do great work, and I think you guys do an awesome job at educating the people who want to further their education and this and that. And I think that it's a great place that you guys have in this movement. I think it's amazing. I'm glad you guys are doing that. What I can't understand is those of I think the majority of the left, if you will, or the liberals or whatever. There's a large portion of liberals who just want to like just have normal, I don't know, conversations without it turning into this constant policing. And they are very underrepresented. And I just feel like you guys are scared for that representation to finally like flood through. And I think maybe, I don't know if you're scared because you don't want the culture to change. You guys want it to continue to move further left, which is fine. And that's totally okay. But
No.
you want
Mercedes,
to
you don't want the
Hold on,
culture to
hold on, hold on.
change.
Hold on.
No, you were asked point blank on the spectrum of racism and deconstructing
want the
racism.
culture to
Your
change.
answer to that
We do not
was
want the
your
culture
answer to
change.
that was I'm a moderate. You
Yes.
cannot definitively
Yes.
decide whether or not you're anti-racist
want
or racist.
Culture
Wait, that's not. No,
Fascism
no, no,
is
no. Hold on, wait,
paved
wait.
with
That's not what she
centrists.
was saying. She's saying that the like you guys again.
What
you
does
guys
that
have
mean?
different
She said that
values.
on her live. To
For,
be fair,
yes,
Tom.
I know. But she like what she said there was taken totally like in a different way than what she was saying. I would say the same exact thing.
Okay,
You guys
contextualize it.
believe things. You guys
That's why
have
you're
very
fucking
different
wrong.
values from us. Yes, and so exactly, you think that we're wrong, and so at the point that we would say like if
Yes.
somebody should
What
deconstruct
difference
their
of
racism,
values is it to
and
say
when they get to a
anti-racist
point
versus
and when
racist?
they get to a point where we think like, yeah, this is somewhere where somebody is like they've learned a lot, they're working on it, they're progressing, like that is a very different point than you guys would think. And so we're going to have very different lines from you guys. And so when she says I'm a moderate, she's saying you guys may have your lines and what you think is good or bad, but I'm obviously a moderate. I'm going to draw my lines in different places. You guys
What
don't
does that
have much of a
mean?
say.
Are
What do you
you
mean,
for
what does it mean?
racism or are you for
You just went
deconstructing it?
over, yeah. So you just went over a bunch of problems that you had with somebody
When
like
you
Destiny,
say I'm
right?
a moderate,
and
that doesn't
you were
answer
going over
anything.
you went over problems that you had with Destiny. You went over problems that you had with the things that I say, but I would
All
not
of
say
those
that
were
Destiny is
valid and have legal
misogynist, the
complaints.
sexist, the
There's a legal
racist, the
complaint under his
transphobe,
name.
any of those things. And so, so what? That doesn't mean anything.
How are you a
The
credible
point-
arbiter, Tom? How are you a credible arbiter of all these isms if you yourself perpetuate them? I mean, you said
Exactly.
using the R
No,
slur
see,
isn't ableist.
exactly. This is what we're saying is that yes,
Exactly
you
what?
have very different lines than us. So when you're saying that I am
What's the
perpetuating
line
these
for
things,
you?
yet
What
I
is
would
the
disagree,
line?
or you say Destiny does these things, yet we
Like
disagree.
my line would be
Obviously,
voting for
we're drawing our
Drake.
lines
Yes,
in very different
objectively
places.
sharing other people's nudes is illegal and wrong.
Correct.
We're just
That's
okay.
it. That's
so
it. I don't know. That had nothing to
Then
do with
what
what you just said. That had literally nothing to do with
Do
anything that I
liberals
just
or
said.
You have an
moderates not
issue
have
with
a
me
line?
calling that out. You said he's not a misogynist.
No, I
Yes,
didn't.
those
No, no,
actions
no.
are.
Hold on. Wait. Hold on. Stop. You're doing it again. I brought up
his
like
brain is
5
hurting.
different
I
things.
can see what's
yes,
on his mind,
my
literally.
brain is hurting
I think this
because
is
you're a
working,
fucking
yes.
idiot, dude. But this
Because
is,
I'm making
I-
too much sense, Tom, and you don't have a
idiots.
retort.
to retards probably. But my problem is that
What
you
the
keep
fuck
saying
is wrong
things
with you?
like
Of
like
course.
that he is
Did
racist,
you
he's
hear that?
sexist, he's misogynist,
Great job,
he's a
Tom.
transphobe.
Yeah,
You
we're doing
say
it.
all of
Everybody,
these things.
I think this is a
You
good
say
time
all
to
of these
stop
things.
talking, Tom.
And then
I'm turning
you-
my microphone
hold
all the
on.
way up, Tom. We
yeah,
heard it loud
go
and
ahead.
clearly. You said it with your full chest. You don't actually care. You are ill-equipped to have conversations of what is or isn't racist, ableist, misogynist, etc., because you uphold it. You are an ableist. You are a racist. You
Right,
are a
that's it,
misogynist.
exactly.
I'll
This
finish
is my
with
point.
that. Yes, stay the fuck out of this discourse forever. Go back to fucking gaming.
We're coming.
No, the fuck you're not.
Mercedes, I don't think you should speak up. Honestly, girly pop.
That was
you-
disappointing.
You
but-
guys just are
Funny
not
enough,
ready. You guys just are
You
not ready.
haven't. You haven't been able. You have not been able to.
Rocked so fucking
You have not been able
by
to.
people who actually understand.
You have
the
not been able
proper
to
normal,
actively engage with
everyday
any of the.
culture. And
You have not
normal,
been able.
everyday blue collar culture of just average fucking Americans.
That's fine,
who
Mercedes.
to just not get policed.
Mercedes.
You guys are